Hi, everybody. This is Jill Applegate. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I see clients in person in Santa Rosa, and I see clients over telehealth all over California. And the clients that I see are parents. And what parents talk to me a lot about is setting screen limits, enforcing screen limits, and the kind of negotiations that their kids do to expand screen limits. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that today. Um, I know a lot of parents that I've talked to feel like they're losing ground on screen limits. And so it's not like that we don't know that screen time can be harmful for our kids. I think the research is pretty convincing on that. But it's the down to the nitty gritty of like, how do we hold that screen limit when our kid is pushing back so hard? And here's the thing, like, your kid is gaining skills as a negotiator as time goes on. And um, that's not a bad thing, but it can help to get some skills yourself in terms of like, how do you stay calm and stay connected when you're holding the line when it's time to turn off screen? It's hard. Um, it's hard because when you set a limit, your kid is going to have some big emotions. And, you can remind yourself that that's okay and that that's going to happen and you can expect them. But there's also a real temptation because the solution to that big emotional display that they're giving you is so quick and easy if you give them back the screen. And the problem with that is that they get this meta message, this overarching message that life is better and smoother and everybody's happier if their emotions are small. They don't feel them as strongly if they're kind of numb. And nobody wants to give their kid that message, right? Um, but on the other hand, it's a real challenge to be able to tolerate and be with them in big emotions. So you want your kid to know that emotions are survivable. You want your kid to know that they can survive being dysregulated, and um, you want to remember, like, and show them your job's not to make the feelings go away. It's just to stay steady while they're having those feelings. One thing that helps as you go into this is to remember that screen time, in my mind, falls under that health and safety category. I would say, like, as a parent, your number one job is to keep your kids safe and healthy. The research out there is pretty strongly pointing to the fact that screens are addictive, that it's not good for developing brains, and that's real. And so that's hard to deal with. That means that it's really important. At the same time, remember that while your job is to keep a calm limit, your child's job is to have feelings about it. Like, if you set a limit and they have big feelings about it, you can remind yourself, even make it a mantra of like, I did my job and now they're doing their job. Everything is fine. This is all right. Um, Another thing is that at various ages and stages of development, kids are testing whether you really mean the limit. What you say and what you do, are they consistent? Do I really have to follow this limit? Do I really believe this boundary? Is my parent sturdy when they say that screen time's up? So that's all the context that's going into this. But um, here we get down to like pretty much like a step by step sequence of the way a conversation might go. And I'll sort of give you an example and then explain why I made some of those decisions. So the first part is like just like when they were littler, no matter what age they are, you know, giving them a warning. Uh, whether you give them 5 minutes, whether you, if they don't know time on the clock, just say, in a couple minutes, pretty soon, it's going to be the end of screen time. And so find a stopping place and I'll be back in to take the tablet and put it up when that time is done. So you're giving them a heads up. It's not a surprise. You're inviting them to find a place to stop. Uh, in my years, I've never seen that actually happen where a child stops before they absolutely necessarily have to, but the concept is there. Same goes with, can you find a stopping place with playing? Can you find a stopping place in that book? Um, it is just a little bit of a respectful thing to give them some control and to acknowledge that they're really into it with it, whatever they're doing. So it's a gesture that can go a long way. Next step, you want to empathize without changing that limit. So I know you wish you could watch longer. I know you really wanted to watch another one. I bet that when you're a grown up, you're going to watch as much screen as you want. But right now, we need to turn it off. So, what I did here is that I didn't apologize. I didn't reopen the negotiation. I didn't minimize their feelings. I just acknowledged that they wanted that without without changing the limit at all. So kids were testing and trying to see if the limit is real. We'll get a calm reminder that it is through this. The next step I want to offer you is to name the feeling indirectly and normalize it. So in this one, I might say, I could see that you're not going to say, I can see you're really angry right now, because so many of us have kids who say, I don't say that. I don't want you to say that. Right. So my kid was like that. And many other people have kids like that too. So instead, you can make it less about them directly. So one way you might do that is talk about yourself. When I was little and Nana used to turn off the computer, I would get so grumpy. I needed a few minutes to be mad before I could think of something else to do. And sometimes she'd offer to hug me and I'd say, no, I don't want to hug you. What about you? Do you want a hug right now? Or do you need a minute? So in this way, you're giving them the feeling without like putting it on them or labeling them directly. You are normalizing the reaction though, because you're giving an example of somebody else who's having that reaction. And you're also citing an example where the emotion passes. I needed a minute. I didn't stay mad at Nani forever. So, they might feel like conflicted about accepting comfort from the very person who is giving them limit that they don't, this for giving them this limit that they don't want, but they may not be able to articulate it, and you don't need them to. You can just know that they may not want a hug from you right now. That's fine. Step 4, you're moving toward closure. Let's write down what you wanted to watch next so that next time you can bring that up first. It sort of tells your kid, like, I know you were doing something that mattered to you. I know it still matters, even though I'm asking you to put this off. It's not going away forever. It'll still be there without that kind of dismissive tone that it sounds like when you say, it's not going away forever. It'll still be there. You're saying, okay, let's write it down. You can come back to it when it's time. The next step is like as you see them complying, as you see them following the limit, you want to acknowledge that, but you don't want to make it weird. You don't want to gush over, I'm so proud of you. You're such a good kid. Thank you so much for listening. But instead, something a little more low key, like, I can see you're doing this, even though you didn't want to. Um, you're not thanking them. They didn't have a choice, so they may not really appreciate hearing a thank you. But you are seeing it. And then you can offer them sort of a limited choice for recovery. Do you want me to read The Wild Robot with you for a while, or do you want some time alone? You're offering them connection, but they don't have to. Many kids who are on screen a lot may have trouble like self-generating the next thing that they want to do in real life. And so you're giving them a little bit of scaffolding on that and also offering them some comfort, but they don't have to take it if they don't want to. You can be confident that that connection is still strong. So the thread running through all this is like, it's bigger than just screen. It's about tolerating those emotions that your kid has. And it's about letting them have their feeling, not changing the limit. Their health and safety is more important than whether they feel upset for a while. This is going to take practice. Let yourself be imperfect every single time. And use your own tools to regulate yourself because it's uncomfortable to have an upset kid across from you. But it'll get easier over time. They'll push back less over time, probably longer than you want it to take, but it will happen, and you'll get better at it. So good luck. If you find that in your house screen time is constantly causing a huge meltdown and that you're constantly caving under pressure, or that negotiations are becoming like a full-time job, it's worth looking into. It's worth getting support over, and I'd be happy to provide that support. And you can reach me at jill@applegatemft.com. I'd love to connect. Thank you.